Today on the Zoo Review, after giving you a tour, I can now tell you what I actually think of the Cincinnati Zoo's new Roo Valley. Unveiled in August of 2020, it is the zoo's first true major development in 5 years. It's also the first of 5 phases to their $150 million master plan, and it took $13 million to complete this. The valley's headliners included an updated beer garden, rope course, walk-through kangaroo yard, and to give it a twist, a very entertaining little blue penguin oasis. Overall sounds pretty simple and perfect for families, right? Well, here's why people had a bit of a problem with it. It started in 1878 when this space was home to elk. Through its prime, there were Audra gazelles, scimitar oryxes, babirussas, zebra dikers, and their famous Sumatran rhinos. What do they all have in common? Hoofstock that were or still are very rarely seen in zoos or even the wild. Now here's what I think. Objectively, Roo Valley is a fantastic addition to a zoo that always seems to cater towards children. Based on the map, I was a little worried the walkthrough portion would be on the small side, but that didn't end up being the case. Plus, turns out it's even bigger than Columbus's. I didn't think the penguins needed a new home, but I believe the zoo outdid themselves with this one. It's significantly large for their size, the colony is huge, and the water couldn't be clearer. To top it off, literally, I loved this beautiful view of the entire area. And to me, it was much more fun just watching them than having a Roo this close to you. But I do have just a couple criticisms. I didn't feel the rope course was necessary at all. The map said that you would be walking over the animals. In fact, the beer garden didn't even turn out as shown on the rendering as well, which usually happens with every zoo project. The walkthrough is 15,000 square feet, but the rope course takes up around 12,000 that could have been used to make this a more unique Australia concept. What makes it worse is that it's on top of the old rhino paddocks. I noticed that some of you suggested they add more animals to the Roo yard, but I could only see that happening if the extra habitats were on the small side. Koalas and wombats maybe, emus and cassowaries no. Also, like Stingray Base, I asked that zoos please stop calling them kangaroo walkabouts. As for replacing the wildlife canyon, I was with the opposing crowd. In fact, I know an insider who told me several keepers were displeased with this decision. You go from Sumatran rhinos to common marsupials. However, the final lineup only had domestic camels, wild horses, toucans, warty pigs, capybaras, and an emu. So not only was the collection getting less valuable, but they gave up on its hoofstock theme. And these exhibits needed to go. Also, an emu can already be found in the bird show, and the pigs were moved to their rhino reserve. Now, once again, here are the thoughts of this area from the man behind the channel, Zoos Travelers. The kangaroo exhibit is standard viewing for the species and nothing unique. The pinnacle of this is obviously the little blue penguins. I love the natural looking rock around the enclosure and the walkway, giving a sense of immersion. I feel they gave this area plenty of space for guests to view the birds without having to fight for a spot. What makes it even better for me is the overlook view at the top of the hill, set within beautiful flower gardens and the sound of a nearby running stream that falls in with the penguins. I hope the zoo expands on this idea and brings in more species. I would like to see what they could do with a spot for tree kangaroos and some others that are common in Australia-themed exhibits. All around, Roo Valley is very well made, but I did feel the little blues are the stars of the show and the kangaroos were an added bonus. And that finishes my second review. While I wasn't a fan of this overhaul, I don't think there's truly anything wrong with it either. And if I'm being honest, because the area is so narrow, I have no clue what I would have done differently. So realistically, I want you to comment your plan to replace or improve the Wildlife Canyon. Stay tuned for the next assessment, and thank you for watching the Zoo Review.